Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, you know, where we would be discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Alright everybody, thank you for joining for another episode of my weekly comic book review where I go over a bunch of comic books with my notes and I compare them to League of Comics Geeks. With that said, before I get too far into depth here, I want to say thank you for all the people that are supporting the channel. We have the Fly Attractor, and by the way, if I mention your name wrongly, it's because I'm just that way. We have TSPH, thank you. Neostar Productions, Crazy Cat, Pop Size, A Penny for Your Dimes, with a Z. Comic Boom and Rags. Thank you to all those people that continually been supporting the channel. Without all of you, this would not be possible. Thank you, everybody. Woo! Let's get into this. All right. The first one I want to talk about is, okay, that's good. We're ready to go. First one I want to talk about is Nightwing, issue number 118, where 187 out of 234 liked it with a 3.7 rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave the book a 7 out of 10, not nearly as high as them. Writer is Tom Taylor, artist is Bruno Redondo, and it's the final issue of Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo's award-winning run, which I don't know why it's winning any awards, because I did not think it was that good. Yep, I know I triggered some people probably right there, right? But you know what it is, I am glad this is the end of it. It did have some moments, I'll give it that. We have the final face-off with Heartless and the end of Tony Zuko, which I just think sort of is something missed that maybe they shouldn't have done. The ending of this creative team makes me happy because I'm looking forward to the next one. Decent art. I really am. I'm more focused on hopefully the next team will do this book justice. I wasn't a fan of the art style, and the writing direction just wasn't it for me. But if you really enjoyed Nightwing, let me know. Maybe I'm just too harsh on it. I mean, because that can happen. I tend to be a little harder on all the comic reviews than people here at League of Comics Geeks. But I tend to think maybe, just maybe, it's because I'm a lot older and have a lot more books probably in my head that's went through, and I probably forgotten more books than some of these people have even read. The next one I want to talk about is Blood Hunters number 3. 13 out of 18 liked it with a 3 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, which leads me to believe not many people are bothering to read this book. Yeah, 18 at this point is all. I gave it a 7, so not, nothing great, right around the same ballpark as them. Erica Schultz is the writer, and the artist is Robert Gill. The Blood Coven strikes. It's an all-out action issue as the super vamp villains finally descend upon the Blood Hunters. Will a vampirized Spider-Man on the sun... It's not Spider-Man, it's Miles Morales. Ooh, triggered! It'll make some people mad. Will Miles and the team be enough to push back the darkness? Well, we'll have to see. As I said, I don't think this book is selling very well. It probably won't be around very long. I give it a 7. Here's the thing I have. Why does every female in comic books have to have a cat? I mean, I have nothing wrong against cats. We have 2. But why is it in comic books they think every woman has to have a cat? I just don't get it. There's decent art. There's good action in this issue, but there's really no story progression there. As I said, I gave it a 7. Didn't think it was anything particularly great. Next one I want to talk about is Batman Superman World's Finest issue number 32. 117 out of 125 liked it with a 4 average rating, and I gave it a 7.2. I didn't think it was near as good as evidently some others thought. The writer is Mark Waid, and the artist is Adrian Gutierrez, which I probably butchered. Eclipso's reign of terror continues to rage on, even though through the combined might of the Man of Steel and the Dark Knight, can they overcome this reincarnation? We've got a lot of issues here. Yep, we sure do. I have to say, the cover I thought of this issue was pretty darn cool. I liked the cover there. But we have an issue. It's interesting, Eclipso's involved, powerful villain. Batman and Superman are taking control of them. Eclipso has, and we have Robin going to gather help. Can Robin gather a good enough team to help out? Well, he's going to try to get the Titans. Can Eclipso gain global control? And you'll have to read to find out. The thing is the interior art to me, I was surprised because the cover, I liked it a lot, but the art and the interior is a bit of a mess. And I just didn't care for the interior art for this one. And the pace it was a fast-paced issue with a lot of action. So as I said, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything spectacular. I gave it a 7.2. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies, possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody. And let's get back to the video. The next issue I want to talk about is Green Lantern number 16 as he goes all in. Yes, pun intended. The cover's all right. There's a couple alternate covers I think are quite a bit better though. 147 out of 156 liked this issue with a 4 average rating, and I gave it a 7.3. Writer's Jeremy Adams, artist is Zermanko, which, sorry dude, I probably really butchered that name. The seeds of war has been sown, and now a massive battle rages across the galaxy. Hal Jordan, John Stewart, and Guy Gardner must race to unlock the mystery of the Dark Star resurrection. What it means for the beloved friend Kilowog. Well, you know what? We don't see anything about Kilowog in here. After they just showed us that he's back, there was no Kilowog here. Oh, come on now. And we get Mogo, so that's pretty cool. Decent art in this issue, lots of action. Good characterization amongst the Green Lantern cast there. Good dialogue. I enjoyed this with a 7.3. I've been enjoying this Green Lantern series, and based on its sales that we can predict, I think other people have as well. And if you're a Green Lantern fan, this is definitely one that you should probably be checking out. Checking out? You can tell I don't edit these much. Checking out. All right, let's move on to the next one. I want to shift gears to something from a distant past. No, not really the past, but big in the 80s. You know what I'm talking about. G.I. Joe. Probably used the wrong gun sound. I should have used lasers, right? We're going to talk about Destro number 5. 81 out of 81 liked it with a 4.2 average rating, and I gave this book a strong 7.6. Yeah, 7.6 here. The writer is Dan Waters. Artist is Andrea Andre is a dude. Bresson, I just butchered the name, sorry. The most dangerous powers in the Energon universe are at war, but only one can win. Yep, we got Tomac Zaymont fighting Destro, and we have Cobra Commander getting involved too. This is a brutal issue, and it reminds me, if one of the things maybe you didn't like about G.I. Joe, if you only watch the cartoons, you notice nobody ever really got shot or whatever, person got blown up in a vehicle. Very little damage actually happened to people, but if you read the G.I. Joe comic books, there's heroes that have actually died in some brutal things. But this new incarnation through image of the G.I. Joe characters is much more brutal. And this issue is very brutal. It really is. There's decent art too. There's good action. There's good character building. And this book has a solid ending to this miniseries that helps continue move this into the new G.I. Joe series. And that's something I think Image is doing really good here, is doing these miniseries with these particular characters, and then it unfolds to what's going to be launched for the new G.I. Joe series. Really well done. It gives you insight into each of these characters that they're doing, and it's going to bring a little more depth to the table than maybe the series has ever had in the past. Now let's talk about another issue. We'll shift gears again to Daredevil, the Woman Without Fear. I fear that this book is going to be garbage. Pun intended. 36 out of 47 liked it with a 3.4 average rating. I gave the book a 7.3. The writer is Erica Schultz and artist is Michael Dowling. Now, this is the last issue of this miniseries, which I did not know at first it was a miniseries. I guess it is. But they're going to be having another Daredevil Woman Without Fear miniseries coming soon after this. So you get what it is here. And in this issue, we get to see more of the continuation from the current story, and we get more with Joe Garrison, the new Punisher. Yes, that's what we get. And can they take care of business? Well, only time will tell. It's an interesting cover here. I like it. There's also an alternate cover that's pretty good too. There's okay action in this issue. And one thing I will give this writer here, Erica Schultz, some respect for, she continues to respect the Punisher and mention that Frank Castle is better than this guy. Decent story, decent ending. I think the fans would definitely prefer Frank over Joe as a Punisher. And, you know, by reading comments about this book in the pages of the book itself at the end, as well as comments from people that have reviewed it and talking about it, I think they agree. People want Frank Castle back. Marvel needs to quit playing these games and bring us the Punisher we really want. Maybe get this guy killed. I don't know, have something happen. Some way to bring Punisher back. Hey, even with Moon Knight, maybe in the new Moon Knight series, he's fighting some drug crime. Maybe it's a good time to bring him back. Well, I don't think it's going to happen in a Moon Knight, though. Let's be honest there. The next book I want to talk about, a lot of people like this. And oh boy, I can't believe this. Here I go. Avengers Assemble number 2. 44 out of 50 liked it with a 3.6 average rating. I gave it a 7. The writer is Steve Orlando and the penciler is Scott Eaton. Now, I do have a different take on this than a lot of others do. We have Captain America, Hawkeye, Night Thrasher, and Hercules deployed to investigate a small New England town tormented by radioactive ghosts. Yeah, and they're super apes. But are these spectral simians villains or victims? What is the Red Ghost doing in Massachusetts as well? The art is a very mixed bag in this issue. I really don't think it's good enough. It made it hard to follow. I didn't care for the style. Though I will say, it's very nice to see Hercules use his mace. How often do we see Hercules using his mace nowadays? So that was a really nice touch there. There's some alternate covers, by the way, for this book too, but nothing I thought that was that great. The Doctor Doom one's pretty good, but otherwise, yeah, mediocre. And that's the whole problem. The story to me was mediocre. The artwork is mediocre. This issue, in my opinion, is a missed opportunity. And I don't think it's going to help this book fly off the shelves. And that's a shame because it's got a really interesting potential cast. And the kicker is where I think I see things a lot differently, is a lot of people in the comments that I read on League of Comics Geeks thought that this book was a step up from the first issue. Honestly, I thought it was a step down. That people thought the banner in the first issue was forced. I didn't think so. And they thought, I heard a lot, it was terrible dialogue and this, that. I actually didn't think so. And matter of fact, this issue I thought was a step down. Poor pacing. It was sort of a clunker of a book. It had some cringy dialogue in it too, with the Wasp and Lightspeed. I don't get it. I was not nearly as enthralled into this one as I was the first issue. And I've heard rumblings that this is actually just a mini series. If you know that, is this a mini series and I'm not aware of that, let me know, because I would like to know that. But ultimately, I can't see this book going real long if it continues like this. I think this was a drop off. And of course, Marvel will just say it's a mini series. That way they can, avoid saying that they had to cancel something. Now, let's talk about another book that keeps getting relaunched after relaunch, and we're not talking Captain Marvel here. We're talking Moon Knight. Fist of Khonshu, number 109 out of 115 liked it with a 4.3 average rating on Leo Comics Geeks. I gave it a strong 7.5. Writer is Jed McKay, artist is Alessandro Capullo. And here's the thing, why do we keep relaunching this series if we have the same team on it? I don't get it. This book also has some really good alternate covers as well. Mark Spector is back from the beyond as an avatar and agent of the Egyptian god of the moon, Khonshu. Formerly mercenary Mark Spector has died and come back to life in, well, let's be honest, more than one occasion. And here's the thing here. I will say the story doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. It has some pretty good cover, the regular one too. And the premise of it is Moon Knight's been gone, so some activity, criminal activity is stirred. But just in the previous series, actually criminal activity was afraid to be thriving in things because the new Moon Knight, which they didn't know was a new Moon Knight, was actually the Shroud, and he was very, very brutal. So making it look like, you know, Moon Knight was gone and crime stepped up didn't make any sense here. So I just don't get that. But in this issue, Moon Knight is taking it to the new drug lord in town. And I think it's interesting. It was a good start of a story. I'm definitely interested to see what's going to happen next. I think there's going to be some brutality, most definitely here. Most definitely. If you're a Moon Knight fan, check it out. I understand if you're not. Some of my viewers are not Moon Knight fans, and I get that. And this next one, if you have not been reading it and you're a Marvel fan at all, or even a Spider-Man fan, you need to do yourself a favor and go out and get this book. His Ultimate Spider-Man number 10. Now, just get this book. Continue getting this series. The cover's a throwback to some classic Spider-Man. That's a nice touch as well. 385 out of 391 liked it with a 4.5 average rating. You ready for this? I gave it an 8.5. Writer Jonathan Hickman, artist David Messina. You know, and usually I'm not the biggest Jonathan Hickman fan. I'm going to get flamed a little bit in that. I think his stories get a little too long and don't really pay off well enough. But this one I have really been enjoying. J. Jonah Jameson and Ben Parker and the Green Goblin collide. Not really. The picture is misleading on the front, just so you know. But anyway, we have Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson taking center stage in this issue. That's what it's all about, those two, and investigating the mystery about what happened with Stark and the Stark Company. But in this world of shadows and secrets, every unturned rock leads to danger. And they're going to find out potentially who the next big challenge is that they're running up against. They're getting more fleshed in. This is actually part of the whole Ultimate storyline, too. It's tapping into that. And so if you've been following that, you understand that there's big changes that happen and things are trying to eliminate superheroes. And we're getting more into that here. Good art, great story. I really do enjoy that. And by the way, there's a great pen name that you find at the end when Ben and Jonah decide that, you know, they can't publish this with their own name. They'll probably be killed. So they publish a story under a pen name. And that pen name, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to check it out. If you read it and you know it, tell me what you thought of that pen name in the comments too. I'd greatly appreciate it. Well, everybody, thanks for your time. Thank you for listening to me throughout this. The channel's been continuing to gain some ground, and I appreciate that. The comic book reviews is not my biggest series by all means, but it's one of my most fun ones to do because I love the camaraderie and the conversation that we have. So please leave your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate them. I read them. Somebody's telling me I should be reading, for example, the Power Rangers. You did read some of those in the past, and I dropped it a couple of years ago. Maybe I should be picking those up again. But otherwise, I'm checking out your comments. I'm reading them. I'm taking that information in. If it's a series, I go, hey, you know what? Maybe I should check that out. I write it down and add it to my list that I can check out later. Thank you, everybody, for your time. And until next time, keep it frugal.